Well, let's talk to John Caudwell. He's a business leader, philanthropist, founder of Phones for You. And John, as a businessman, with so many people saying this is going to put an increased cost pressure on businesses, is this something you support?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, first and foremost in society, we have to have a fair society looking after those people who are not able to look after themselves. And of course, we need a very low tax regime in the UK to stimulate business, to stimulate entrepreneurship, and to keep wealthy people on our shores. But we do need to balance that with a fair society that looks after people that are less fortunate than ourselves. So I think this is a very, very much needed reform. It's a relatively small tax hike, although it will be quite painful for some people, I'm sure, and it may be quite painful for some businesses, but we have to absorb it and we have to have a fair society.
Well, it has to work, though, doesn't it? And that's the worry.
Well, the detail is not there yet. I mean, clearly the early stages of this fundraising will go towards COVID, and that's a very, very legitimate extra cost for the NHS, of course. So the NHS must be costing many, many billions more to run than it was prior to COVID. So that's very legitimate. And then they'll use the money on this social reform. Now, it depends on how this social reform works. I've read one or two statements that it will exclude accommodation and food. Now, that sounds bizarre, because if you've got a relative that needs a care home, most of the cost of that could be the cost of accommodation, because they may need very little care, just a safe environment. So I think there's a lot of detail that needs to come out of this before we can judge that the government have got it right and that it is going to achieve the objectives.
Morning, John. Nice to see you. I just wanted to speak to you about, as the country sort of comes out of this pandemic and we need to get business moving, as a business leader yourself, I wanted to get your thoughts on the working from home debate. How do you feel on that? I mean, a lot of people very much divided on this.
Well, I think there's a legitimate discussion to be had there in individual cases. But the working from home overall, if too many people were doing it, would be catastrophic. We need people in work, in a social environment, looking after the junior members and all members actually firing off each other to improve their performance and to have this social interaction. That doesn't mean there isn't a case for it in certain individuals, and every company should have those discussions with certain individuals who may be better at working from home, more effective, more cost effective, and of course reducing the cost of travel and therefore the impact on the environment. But in general, people need to get back to work and be in that social environment where they are looking after their subordinates and where they are sharing their knowledge in a dynamic environment.
John, the criticism of all this is that it's not going to be paid by those with the broader shoulders. People like you, frankly. Do you feel that you actually contribute enough?
Oh gosh, that's an impossible question to answer, because what is enough? I mean, I've paid all my taxes. I must be the only person at the moment that's living in Monaco and paying all UK taxes. But there is a limit to how much the rich will pay, and it's not whether the rich should pay more. It's will the rich pay more? And so the government do have to get the fairness all the way through society. And rich are taxed very, very heavily and pay an enormous contribution in. Could they pay a little bit more? Of course they could, but would that drive some of them offshore into tax havens? Maybe it would. So it's a very, very difficult conundrum for the government. But I'm never going to sit here and say the rich should not pay any more. We have to have a fair society. We have to have a healthy, balanced society. And if the rich do need to pay a little bit more, then so be it.
Why are you living in Monaco if you're not benefiting from not paying British tax?
Oh, there's various reasons. They're personal reasons. But we got trapped by COVID. My partner was pregnant with her first child, and so we couldn't then travel. Lots of reasons. And now actually I'm here because I can't travel again, because I had a big cycling accident in Italy and smashed the entire left side of my body up. All my ribs have broken and collarbone, scapula, I had a punctured lung, and so at the moment I'm trapped for medical reasons. So, but it's not a bad place to be trapped. So I'm probably using the wrong word, but my partner and children are living in Staffordshire, and I'm here undergoing medical care.
Yeah, no, well, I wanted to talk about that because I knew about the accident. And, of course, there you are in Monaco. I mean, I shudder to think what you must have paid in medical fees for that. Of course, if you were here, you'd have the NHS.
Yeah, you know, I really don't mind paying out because it is down to this fairer society. You know, if you go private, you perhaps in certain cases get a better service and you pay a lot of money for it, but it takes the load off the NHS. And, you know, a lot of my life is about making the world a fairer place, a better place. It's a big focal point, mainly through my charitable works. So I don't really see it as a negative situation, really. You know, it's something that I can afford to do and so do it happily.
And John, just finally, I mean, I've hosted one of your lovely charity events. That was a couple of years ago. How difficult has this pandemic been for you? You do so much for Caudwell children. It must have been a real struggle over the last 18 months.
Yeah, it's been very difficult for all charities, and Caudwell Children is no exception. I think, fortunately, in Caudwell Children's case, they've got Modesta and I working flat out all the time to raise money. We entertain people all the time in our homes and on my boat, and those people become big supporters of the charity. A year ago, I launched Life Changers Circle, whereby wealthy people donate £1 million over 10 years and join this Life Changers Circle to help make disabled children's lives better. So, you know, we're doing okay, but it is a huge struggle. And of course, I do put a lot of personal money in to bridge the gap as well. So we're surviving, but there's so many children out there, you know, that just desperately need help. It's a never-ending list. So we'll never be able to raise enough money because there's so many children that just need the help.
That's right.
John, it's great to talk to you. I noticed I was doing a bit of research. You and I share a birthday, so happy birthday in a few weeks' time. And I really hope the recovery goes well. Is the prognosis good?
Well, I don't know yet because the treatment has been a little bit fragmented. And I'm going to see the head of orthopaedic surgery today to see what sort of operation I need and what the prognosis is. So I'm not sure. The punctured lung seems to have healed well. And the hip is recovering, so it's now just all to do with this shoulder and what we do with it.
Yeah. Well, we wish you very well.
Never underestimate health.
No.
No, absolutely.
It's really good to talk to you, John. Great pleasure. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.